What's up everybody, Jeremy Weiss here with Weiss Tech Hockey, and in this video I wanted to show you a more aggressive version of the Wedge +1 penalty kill setup. So if you remember, we talked about this a little bit before, but our penalty kill setups actually mirror some of the stuff that we do with our regular defensive zone coverage 5-on-5 setups. For example, we started with the simple box. The simple box is very protective of the front of the net, but it's not very aggressive, so you're not very likely to cause a turnover in your defensive zone on the penalty kill using the simple box. It's actually very similar to the box +1 5-on-5 setup. And then we moved into the to the Wedge +1, which is actually basically just a 4-on-4 or a 4-man version of the sagging zone. So we still have our sag man. We still a lot of the shifts are very similar, and it's a little bit more aggressive. So hopefully you'll get a couple more turnovers, but still somewhat protective of the front of the net because you still have the 3 guys in front of the net. Now I'm going to show you an even more aggressive version of the Wedge +1. In fact, I call it the expanded Wedge +1 or the arrow, and it actually ends up working very similarly to the sagging zone arrow coverage that we showed you in our defensive zone coverage videos. So let's go ahead, we'll pull up the rink and I'll show you the basic setup. So here we have a basic Wedge +1 setup with a puck at the point and a forward pressuring the puck carrier. Now if you remember, we talked about this, I've mentioned it a couple times, but in general, especially in like a power play setup, there are usually going to be 2 passing options from wherever the puck is in the zone. Generally there's a passing option at kind of a straight ahead angle and then a straight to the side angle. So it's almost like a right angle of passing options. And I say that because if your coverage is covering properly and you're doing it well, there shouldn't be a passing angle through the middle. You've got your forward out there and then you've got a lot of coverage in the middle of the ice. So hopefully you're not giving up a passing angle through the middle. So really, if you do it properly, there should be only 2 passing options that are possibilities for the puck carrier at any given place on the ice. So what we do is with the sagging zone or the Wedge +1, expanded Wedge +1 arrow, what we do with this is we take advantage of our knowledge of this little concept. So what we're going to do is, if the puck is here, instead of having our Wedge +1 or our wedge guys all sagging down, we're going to expand these guys out. So we're going to anticipate a possible pass. And basically what that does is it allows you to jump on pucks quicker, and it allows you potential interceptions. So especially this D-to-D pass, if you can get a forward that is fast enough and tricky enough to make it look like this guy's still open, but then close on that as soon as he sees the pass is about ready to be made, you can get him jumping in and intercepting passes a lot, sending himself down in on breakaways. So that is the basic premise of the expanded Wedge +1. Obviously that only leaves 1 guy in front of our net, so he has to be extremely smart, talented, and able to control what's going on in front of that net. In this particular case, we only have 1 opposing player in front of the net, so 1-on-1 should be okay for this guy to handle. Now if they decide that they're going to take and throw a 2nd guy in front of the net, then that's going to give us problems. So we'll either have to adjust and not do the expanded arrow, or we'll have to concede one of the passing options, which in this case I think it would be better to concede the corner passing option and bring our defenseman back to play the 2nd guy. So that's the basic expanded arrow. It's very similar to the Wedge +1, except that we're getting a lot more aggressive on the 2 potential passing options from from where the puck carrier is on the ice. And these potential passing options, I won't draw out the whole thing, but basically from wherever you are on the ice, there's a passing option. If the puck's in the corner, there's a passing option up ice, and there's a passing option behind the net. So that's basically all that we're going to do, is anticipate those 2 potential passing options and be in a position to intercept those passes. So if you've got the right team for this, it can be very, very effective. If you've got the right team for it, you may do a few different PK setups throughout the course of a game. Maybe start with something a little bit more basic and then get more aggressive, or maybe do the opposite. Maybe start very aggressive and then as the other team starts keying in on it, get a little bit more basic. But you'll be able to do whatever makes sense for your team. So enjoy that one and have a good one.